The Advent season is, of course, a time of waiting for the celebration of Christmas. But Christians are challenged not merely to wait, but to be ready for whatever God has in store. In the Gospel for the first Sunday of Advent, the key concept is the unexpectedness of the coming of the Son of Man. Whether the case of the men and women in the days of Noah, or the case of the homeowner robbed unawares in the middle of the night, believers need to be ever vigilant, waiting for the return of the Son of Man. Our Gospel text is part of a challenging discourse from the Gospel of Matthew on the end time. Conflict and violence will dominate at the level of the communal, the national, and even the cosmic. False messiahs will try to lead believers astray. But the hour of the true coming of the Son of Man is not to be known. The reference to the flood in Jesus' teaching is particularly appropriate, for it describes a time of chaos and destruction. Through sin, much of the world is destroyed. Yet a holy remnant, Noah and his family, survives by faith. The more baffling imagery of two men in the field and two women grinding corn suggests that our human reason may not be able to grasp how divine justice is to be measured. God is not arbitrary in his judgments, but he is often inscrutable. Can any of us really make sense of the radically contingent portrayal of human existence that is part and parcel of this Sunday's readings? We know something of personal mortality, and all too frequently, the media brings natural and human catastrophes into our living rooms. The Scriptures describe these events as occurring within the scope of God's design for humankind. For most of us, innocent suffering is already perhaps the greatest challenge to our faith. Can the end of human history, described in such violent terms, be truly part of God's plan? The Advent season points to God's victory over sin and death. But victories do not come about without struggle. In the Gospel, that struggle is very much engaged, and the victory will be Christ's. But our lives as believers are situated in the time of struggle before the final victory. What does the future tell us about our present? The Christian is challenged to be ready for whatever comes. I don't think the readiness Jesus has in mind is a kind of passivity. Christians need to be ready for an appointed time in the future by their active involvement in living the gospel in the present, with all that implies. Christian discipleship is never passive. The future-oriented thrust of our faith is often overlooked. Whether in the Creed, where we profess our faith in the life in the world to come, or in the Our Father, where we pray, "Thy kingdom come," the glorious coming of Christ is part and parcel of our faith. Our liturgical seasons necessarily celebrate the great mysteries rooted in the historical life and ministry of Jesus Christ. But Jesus' own preaching challenged listeners to look forward to a new age in which the reign of God is established in glory. The challenge for all believers in this Advent season is to make our future hope and glory alive and real.